This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so today we'll start with loading the data from table to a file. We have seen loading the data from table to a table, so the multiple target tables, also reading the data from multiple source tables and load it into a target table. Also, we have seen how to extract the data from a single source file loading table, multiple source files, dynamic source files, reading the data from the files, transform and load into a table. So such type of scenarios we have seen. Okay, sometimes we also have to generate uh, files in the target. So read the data from the source table, transform and generate a file in the target. Okay, so we'll create a mapping for that. So how we can extract the data from the table, transform and load to a flat. Okay, yeah, fine. So let's say we have a source table like this, emp underscore yes. So from this table, we have to extract the data, transform and load into a file. So these are the 6 records we have. Initially, we'll start with the, like a simple table. So in your local machine, you can create a folder with the name TGT files or target files, and there should not be space in the folder structure. Okay, so if you keep your files on desktop or any other folder, make sure there should not be any space in the folder name. Okay, so if you want to give the space, instead of space, you have to use underscore. Okay, so like that TGT files you can give, you can create any folder with the name in your system. And here in this location, after execution, the file should be created. I repeat, So now we are going to create a mapping to extract the data from the source table, transform and generate a file here. So in that file, it should have to load the data. So for that, we'll create a mapping. So first we have to import the source definition. Same 6 steps we have to follow. So source is emp underscore yes. Okay, we already have imported emp underscore yes. So again, if you re-import, it will display a message saying that do you want to replace or rename? We just have to select the replace option. So we'll go here, emps, select, click on OK. You can see here it is asking, do you want to replace or rename? Just have to click on replace. Okay, so and then target definition. Target definition. So we do not have anything now because we do not have any sample file also. If the source is a flat file, we imported the source flat file definition by selecting the source file. But we do not have any target definition here. After execution, we will get the file here through the mapping. So mapping will generate a file here. But to create a mapping, we need to have the target definition. So currently we do not have target in our database table and we do not have a flat file also. So then how we are going to create a flat file definition? So for that directly we can go here. There is an option called create. So you have to select the create option and select the database type. It is not a database, it is a flat file. Okay, so remember whenever the target is a flat file, manually we have to create a target flat file definition like this. So flat file and the target flat file definition name, you can see you can give anything like emptgt underscore file. Okay, underscore where there should not be spaces in the file name, this target definition name also. Then create, done. So you can see target flat file definition got created. I repeat, so target the flat file definition we will not import from here. We have to create. So target flat file definition, we have to select the create option. Okay, so once the target flat file definition is created, so in source we have three columns: employee number, employee name, salary. The same three columns we can add in the target flat file definition. Open the target flat file definition, go to the columns tab, and here we have a button to add a new column. So since we have three columns in our source table, the same three columns here also we have to add. Okay, the first column name is employee number, second column name is employee name, third column name is salary. So like that in our source table we have three columns. The same three columns we need in the target flat file definition. So that's the reason we have to add these three. And the data type, we have to make sure the data type employee number, it's a number data type. For the number we select the double. Employee name string you can leave as it is. Salary, it's not a string, it's a number data type, we can select as a double. So like that, here we have these three columns. For these three columns we have to set the corresponding data type. Okay, and then click on apply. Okay, so like that we have to create a target flat file definition. So you can see here we do not have any like uh, any target table or a that flat file. So even though we don't have any target table or a flat file, we have created target flat file definition and we have added the new columns in the target flat file definition. Okay, so after importing the source and target, now we will start create the mapping. Third step, go to the menu mappings, create m underscore. Okay, so emp underscore table to file load. So we are loading the data from table to file. So like that we can give some name, then click on OK, and then open the sources folder and source the table which is emp underscore yes. So we have to drag and drop the source definition here and then open the targets folder. Target is a flat file definition emp tgt file. So this is our target flat file definition. So you can see in the bracket we have a flat file, right? This is going to generate a file. Okay, so select all the columns from here, from source qualifier, drag and drop to the target flat file definition. So with this, we have created the mapping. Go to the menu repository, save. So mapping is created. For this mapping, now we'll create a session task. Go to the menu tasks, create session task name should start with small s underscore, and then the mapping name we have to give create, and from this list we have to select the mapping name. So table to file load, here we have the mapping. Okay, and then click on OK, done, and then go to the workflow designer, workflows, create wf underscore mapping name, click on OK, and then open the sessions folder. So here from this list we have to select emp underscore table to file load, drag and drop task link task, and give the link like this, save. Okay, so with this we have done with the mapping session workflow everything. Okay, and if the source is a flat file, then we have to set the source file type as direct source file directory. We have to give the file directory and the file name, right? In the same way. So here the target is a flat file. For that, so in which location it should have to generate a file, we have to open the session task, go to the mapping tab, and select the target definition here. So right side in properties, so you can see here output file directory. So output file directory means where you want to create the directory path. So here this is the path. Click here in the address bar, right click, copy. So from here we will get the path, complete the path wherever we have created our target files directory. We have to open that directory. So right click and then copy, so that you will get the complete path here. The same path you have to specify here in the output file directory. So remove that path and you have to copy your own path here. So like that we can give the target file directory path, and then output file name, output file, right? So target, it is going to generate a file, that file we call it as a output file. So output file name, here we have some dummy name. So you can remove this one and you can give with whatever the name it should have to create. So the same name we can give emp underscore tgt underscore file, and then dot txt, right? Dot txt, we have to specify extension. Okay, with what extension it should have to create a file. So here if you give dot xls, then excel file also will be created. Dot csv, if you give csv file comma separated value file will be created. So like that, whichever the format we want, so that format we have to specify like that. Now I have given dot txt, so it will create a text file, then click on apply. Okay, that's it. So these two are important, output file directory or the output file name, in which location it should have to create a file and with what name it should have to create a file, that we have to specify. Then click on apply. Okay, save. Now it is ready to execute. As soon as I click on start execute, start workflow, so it will start execute. It will read the data from the table, transform, and here it will generate a file. So we'll wait for the file to be generated. Still the file has not come, still it is running. So it will read the data from the table and you can see now it has generated the file. Got it? Okay, so we have got the file. So if I open this file, it will open in a notepad. You can see from the table it has read all these 6 rows and it has generated a file, and whatever the rows are there, 6 rows, the same 6 rows we have here in the target flat file. So who has generated this file? Informatica. Informatica, our mapping has extracted the data from the table, transformed, and it has generated the flat file in the target. And in the flat file, it has loaded. So by default, it has given the comma delimiter, even though it is a text file, .txt format. So in between, to column, to differentiate each and every column value, it has given comma. This is called comma separated file. Okay, or comma delimiter file. Got it? So like that, we can create a mapping to extract the data from the source table, transform, and load it to a flat file. Okay, next up. If you observe here, we have only rows, right? Do we have the column names in the file? We don't have the column names. Do we have ENO, ENA, salary like that? No, we don't have the column name. So by seeing this, how we will come to what is this 10? what is this Ali and what is this 10,000, how we will come to know what this column represents, this value represents which column, right? We need column names. So to get the column names in the target file, what you have to do, right click, edit the session task, go to the mapping tab, select the targets, and here if you see we have header options. There's a property in the target definition properties, we have header options. So currently it is no header, that is the reason we didn't get any column names. So if you click output of field names, if you select output of field names property, so apply, okay, save. So output field names property will send the column names also in the file. After saving, we can rerun, start our flow. As soon as we start execution of the flow, it will replace the file with the latest file. Now you can see by seeing the date modified 6:50 a.m. Now the time is 6:50 a.m. So file has modified. If you open the file, you can see now we have the column names, employee number, employee name, salary, like that. Got it. So this is how we can also get the column names in the target flat file definition. Okay, next. Now, generally, if the source is a table, target is a table, first time if you execute, if there are 5 records in the source table, all the 5 records will be loaded into the target table, right? Okay, so same mapping, same session, same workflow. If you execute second time, okay, same mapping, same session, same workflow. If you execute second time, then what it will do? Again, it will extract all the records from the source, right? 5 records it will extract from the source. Again, all the 5 records will be loaded into the target table, right? We have seen already. I repeat, so if there are 5 records in the source, for the first time it will extract all the records. First time it will extract all the records from the source and all the records will be loaded into the target table. Same mapping, same session, same workflow. If we execute second time, again the same 5 records will be extracted from the source. Same 5 records will be loaded into the target. After second time successful of the execution, you will have total 10 records in the target table, right? Okay, see, and third time same mapping, same session, same workflow. If you execute third time, then again it will extract the 5 records, transform, and again those 5 records will be loaded into the target table. Okay, so this time after third time successful of the execution, you will have total 15 records, means the same 5 records will be added to the existing table. But here, if I execute second time, we have seen like it has not added the source records into the target table. Instead of appending the source records into the target flat file, it has created the new file and it has replaced the old file with the new file. Did you observe? So first time file generated, second time to get the column names I have selected the output field names, and then second time I have started execution. Second time if you start execute, again it should have to extract the records from the source and it should have to add the records in the file flat file. So instead of adding the records to the existing file, it has replaced the file, right? It has replaced it. So now let's say I don't want to replace. If I execute third time, I don't want to replace this file. So I want, so the source records to be added to the existing file. So for that, what do we have to do? So here we have to go to the task developer, open the session task, go to the mapping tab. Okay, select the target definition. Okay, so right side under properties, we have, there is a property called append if exists. Append if exists. So that means if the file is already exist, so just it will add the source records to the existing file, that is called appender. So append means adding the records to the existing file. Now this time it is not going to replace the file, it will add the records to the existing file. Apply, okay, save. Okay, now if I execute second time, so it will extract the 6 records, and we already have the file here. To the same file, it will append the records. Okay, now if I open, you can see this time it has not replaced the file. It has appended these second time execution records. It has appended to the existing file. Like that depends on our requirement. We can change the properties inside the session task for this target flat file. Okay, third time if I execute the same mapping, same session, same workflow, third time if I execute, again it will extract the same six record. Instead of placing the file, it will append the records to the existing file. Okay, so now if I open the file, now you can see we have got total, so again third set of records, these records are appended to the existing file. So like that, if you don't want to replace, then we can select that option. Otherwise, every time if you want to replace a file, we old file with a new file, then we no need to select that option if it exists, so that it will replace the file. A new file will be created every time. Whatever the data present in the source table, with that data, a new file will be created in the every run. That's it. So this is how we can extract the data from the table, transform and load into a flat file. Okay, next, another scenario. So another scenario here we can see, so we have a source table. In the source table, we have a different address records are there, HYD, BLR, CNI like that USA, and we have a different address records are there. So from one source table, we have to generate three files. Okay, so first let's say we do not have the USA record. We have only HYD, BLR, CNI. Three address records are there in the source table. For each address, we have to create a separate file. For HYD address record, we have to create a HYD.txt file. It should have to load all the HYD address records. And for the BLR address, so we have to create a BLR.txt file, and there it should have to load all the BLR records. From then CNI, CHNI, address records, it should have to create a separate file, and there it should have to load all the records. I repeat, so in the source table, we have different address records are there. So assume there are three distinct address records are there in the source. In the target, it should have to create three different files, and from the source, it should have to load those three different address records into corresponding files in the target. Okay, so for that, I have created the source table like this, emp underscore m files underscore yes, multiple file source. Okay, so for the first time you can see I have the employee number, first name, last name, address like that. So if you see there, how many distinct address records are there? There are three distinct address records are there, HYD, BLR, CNI, like that only three distinct records are there. So after successful of the execution, here it should have to create three files. So we'll delete the existing file. Okay, so here we are expecting three files to be generated with the name emp underscore hyd.txt, emp underscore blr.txt, emp underscore cni.txt. Like that, it should have to create three files in the target now. And if I open emp underscore hyd.txt file, so from the source, whatever the hyd address records are there, so these three records, so employee number 10, okay, 30, 50, these three records should be there inside the HYD file, and 20 and 60 rows should be loaded into the emp underscore blr.txt file, and this record should be loaded to the CNI record. It should have to create a emp underscore cni.txt, and this record should be loaded into the emp underscore cni.txt file. Like that, it should have to create three files, and it should have to load the data into three correct corresponding files. For that, I am going to create a mapping now. Okay, so we do not have any files in the target files directory. We'll start creating the mapping now. First, we have to import the source definition. Sources import from database. Source is the table we have created inside the database, and we will be importing the source flat file definition like this. Imported source flat file definition, and then target designer. So here we have to import the target definition. So target, do we have anything to import? Target is not a table. We just have to create a source table. For this scenario, we should not create any target table because target is a flat file. After execution, our mapping is going to generate the files in the target. Okay, so for that, what do we have to do here? So we have to create a target flat file definition. Just now I have told, whenever you have the target as a flat file, we have to create a target flat file definition. For that, go to the menu targets, and here we have to create. This is the target is a flat file. We have to create, and we have to select the flat file here, and then emp underscore. Okay, tgt multiple files. So like that, some meaningful name we can give. We can create done, and in our source table here we have four columns: employee number, first name, last name, address. The same four columns we will add here: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so employee number, first name, last name, and then address. Right? So only employee number is a number data type. We can select the double. For the other columns, you can just leave that as it is. Just click on apply. Okay, so with that, the target flat file definition got created. So in this scenario, we are going to generate three flat files in the target. Since we are going to generate three flat files, here you no need to create three flat file definition, because all the three flat files are going to have the same structure. That is the reason. So we no need to create three flat file definition. We can create only one target flat file definition. Then go to the mapping, create m underscore emp underscore. Okay, so able to multiple files, m files load, table to multiple files load. So like that, we can give the name, click on OK. So source is a table, so we have to open the source flat file, source definition, and then target definition, emp tgtm files. So like that, we have to drag and drop. And then since it should have to generate three files with the same structure, what we have to do is same target definition we can copy paste, and again copy paste. Okay, so we have to copy paste the target definition. It should have to create three files with the same structure. Here we just have to copy paste the target flat file definitions like this, and then we have to route the data in three different files. So from the source, for whichever the record address is HYD, we have to load into the first file, and address equal to BLR, we have to load into the second file, address equal to CNI, we have to load into the third file. So like that, we have multiple conditions here: address equal to HYD, address equal to BLR, address equal to CNI. Like that, we have three conditions. To write three conditions in our mapping, we have to create a router transformation. Okay, so from this list, we have to select the router or TR, then create, done. So router transformation has created to write multiple conditions and to route the data into three different files. So right click, select all, and drag and drop to the router transformation, right? So once we drag and drop, we have got input group created. So we have to write three conditions inside the router transformation to route the data in three targets. So for that, open the router, go to the groups tab, and here we have to create three groups. First group name HYD, second group name VLR, third group name CL9. So like that, we can give three group names here, and here right side address equal to HYD. So here we have to write address is equal to HYD. Like that, we have to write a condition in the first group. Okay, just validate so that there should not be any error. And then in the second group, we have to write address equal to VLR. These are the multiple conditions we are writing here. Multiple conditions. That's the reason we have created the router transformation. Okay, and the third group, address equal to CNI. So like that, we have written three conditions inside the router transformation. So default group, by default it has created. We have not created the default group, and that is disabled. We cannot write any condition. Got it? and then click on apply. Okay. So to apply, okay, as soon as we click on apply, okay, you can see whatever the ports are there in input group, same ports will be copied to the below groups HYD, VLR, CNI, and default group. So from HYD group, we can select these ports, drag and drop to the first target definition. From BLR group, we have to select these ports and drag and drop to the second target definition. And from CNI group, we can select these ports and drag and drop to the third flat file definition. This is how we have to create a mapping and then go to the menu save. So with this, we have created the mapping, and inside the mapping, we have written a condition also. As soon as we start execution of this mapping, from the source, it will read the first record 10 AB HYD. For the first record, we have the HYD. So HYD condition we have in the first group, it will generate a file and it will load HYD recording to EMP underscore HYD file. In the same way, all the BLR records, it will load into one file. All the CNI records it will load into another file. Okay. So for this mapping, now we'll create session task workflow. So this is the mapping name, EM files done, and then workflow designer, workflows create, and so here we have our table to EM files load, tasks, link task, and we just have to give the link like this, save, okay, and then here we have to set the proper light. So the target is a flat file. What do we have to do? We have to set the path. So select the first target definition here. Okay, so where do we want to generate that file? So we want to get the file in this location. Right click, copy the path, and here we have to give the output file directory. So this is the directory path you have to specify, and the output file name. So output file name, so emp underscore hyd.txt. This is our first file. So this is the path. In this path, it should have to create emp underscore hyd. Next, select the second target definition here. So here also we have to specify output file directory, and the path we have to specify. Second file name is emp underscore blr.txt. So it should have to create emp underscore blr.txt. The third target definition, output file directory. Here we have to give the path and then the output file name. So output file name should be emp underscore cni.txt. So like that we have to give the output file name, right? So this is called hard decoding. We are hard decoding the file names here. We have hard decoding the path. Okay, so whatever the name here we have given, with the same name, it is going to create a file. So three target flat file definitions are there here. So we have selected each and every target definition, and we have specified the output file directory and the output file name, right? So like that, we have to select each and every target definition here. So you have to specify the output file directory and the output file name, with what name it should have to create a file. Here we will be giving the file names, and then apply. Okay, save. That's it. Now it is ready to execute. Right click, start workflow. As soon as I click on start workflow, here in this location, we will get three files now. So it got three files created. Got it. So if I open emp underscore blr file, you can see from the source, we have blr address. We have only two records here, right? So 20 record and then blr 60 record. So these two records only we have in our source. The same blr file contains the blr address records. Okay, in the same way, if I open the CNI file, so CNI file, we have only one record here in the source table CNI. So CNI only this address record we have, only one record loaded in the CNI file. And the third file we have emp underscore hyd. If I open this file in our source table, we have total three records where address is hyd. The first record, and then third record, and then fifth record. So these three records HYD address records we have in our source. So it has created emp underscore hyd.txt file, and it has loaded those three records inside the hyd file. The corresponding address records loaded inside the hyd file. So like that, we can also generate from source table to multiple files like this in the target file directory. Okay, so we have seen how to load the data from table to a single file, and also we have extracted the data from the single table, transform and loaded into the multiple files. So it has generated the files like this automatically. It has created these three files and corresponding address records it has loaded in those three files. Okay, so like that we can create a mapping. Fine, next, another scenario. Another scenario here, now let's say we have only three address records are there, right? So HYD, BLR, CNI, three distinct address records are there. Suppose if I add a new address record here, USA. Okay, let's say I have added a new address record, USA. Seventh row I have added here. So if I add the seventh row with the name USA, and if I without changing anything inside a mapping session workflow, if I start execution of this workflow, is it going to generate emp underscore USA.txt file? Is it going to load that USA record inside that file? If I add a new address record in the source table, is it going to generate a new file here if I execute the workflow?
No, sir.
No, right? So what do we have to do for that? To get the new file. So I want that record to be added in the new file. So here, so after adding the new address record USA, to get USA.txt file to be generated here, what changes we have to make inside the mapping and the session task?
Inside the mapping, we have to write in a router transformation. We have to specify one new group.
Exactly, that is the first step.
Then we have to copy the target table again. Then in
Yeah,
that we have to add the condition address is equal to USA.
correct. So what we have to do inside the mapping, we have to go to the group tab and we have to add a new group for the USA, and we have to write a condition address equal to USA, and then here we have to copy paste the target definition, and from USA group we have to connect it to the target definition. So these are the changes we have to do in the mapping. And then at session level, so again we have to go here, you will find inside the targets you will find one more target definition here, and you have to select that fourth target definition, and then you have to specify the output file directory and the output file name. These many changes we have to do if they have added a new address record in the source table. Okay, so if one address record also, new address record also added in the source table, we have to make the changes inside the mapping and the session task. Okay, fine. Today you have added a new group here, and then you have made the changes inside the mapping and the session task. Okay, and then it is going to generate USA file. Okay, so today they have only 4 address records in the source table. Maybe in future they have added now total 500 distinct address records are there in the file in the source table. After 1 year, there are total 500 distinct address records are there in the source table, and client is expecting 500 files to be generated here. So if you follow this approach here, you should have to have total 500 groups inside the router transformation, and then 500 target definitions should be there, and 500 target definitions inside the session task. You have to select each and every target definition, and then you have to create a you have to give the output file directory path, and for each and every target definition you have to give the output file name. So that will take long time and it is not suggestible. Even though if you create 500 groups inside the router transformation, that is not fixed. Maybe after 2 years or after 3 years, client, if they have added 10,000 address records, okay, each and every city address records they have added here, and client now he is expecting I want 10,000 files here. So for my 10,000 distinct address record, for each and every address, you have to create a separate file, all the files to be loaded. Now we have 10,000 distinct address records in the source table. I want 10,000 files to be generated here. So if you want 10,000 files, are you going to create 10,000 groups inside the router? Are you going to create 10,000 target definitions? Is it possible?
No.
No, right? This is not possible. So if you want to generate 2 files or 3 files, you can create a mapping like this for the 3 files. If you want to generate thousands of files, then how you are going to use the same mapping to add a new group, thousands of groups inside the router? No, it is not possible. Okay, so forget about the thousands. Let's say we want to generate the files less than 10 only every day. Today you have 3 distinct address records, you have to generate 3 files. Tomorrow there will be 5 distinct address records, you have to generate 5 files. Day after tomorrow you have 2 distinct address records in this table, you have to generate 2 files. After 1 week there are 7 distinct address records, you have to generate 7 files. Even though the file counts which we have to generate in the target folder, it is less than 10 only. Even though the files count less than 10, every day the distinct count is going to be changed. Every day if the distinct count is going to be changed here, then every day we have to make the changes inside the mapping. Today if there are 2 address, we should have 2 groups. Tomorrow if there are 5 address, then we should have 5 groups. Day after tomorrow if there are 3 address in the source, then we should have 3 groups. After 1 week if you have 8 address records in the source table, then we should have 8 groups. Every day, is it possible to make the changes inside the mapping? Depends on your source distinct address record count. Can we make the changes every day inside the mapping in real time once the code move to the production environment or live environment? That is also not possible. Every day we cannot make the changes. Once the code, or code means whatever the mappings we have developed, once they move to the live environment, we cannot make the changes every day. So even though here the file counts which it is going to be generated less than 10, so every day the file count changes, then we cannot add the groups and we cannot remove the groups in the router transformation every day in the mapping, because in real time not only one mapping, we'll have hundreds of mappings. Okay, we cannot make the changes like that. If client says or customer says that okay, so currently in the source table there are only 3 address records. Okay, you create a mapping to generate only 3 files. Lifetime we will have only these 3 address. I am not going to add a new address record here. Lifetime you will have only 3 address records in the source table. In that scenario, yes, you can go and create a mapping like this. Create 3 groups, create 3 target definition, and lifetime only, you will get only 3 address records in the source, and this mapping will work fine to generate those 3 files in the target. This is called static files generation in the target. What we call such scenario, static files generation. Static files generation means lifetime generating the fixed number of files. Generating the fixed number of files lifetime is called static files generation. Okay, if client says no, today I have only 3 address, tomorrow I may add new address, your mapping should generate new file for that new address. Day after tomorrow I may add 2 more new address, your mapping should generate corresponding files for those 2 new address records in the target. Like that, if the client says every day the file count changes to generate, then we should not follow the static files generation approach. So we have to create a mapping such a way that, okay, even though if they have added thousands of new address records in the source table without changing anything inside the mapping or a session task, our mapping should generate automatically thousands of files in the target. So we have to create a mapping such a way that even though they have added thousands of address records in the source table, then our mapping automatically it should generate thousands of files in the target. That is called dynamic files generation in the target. What we call that scenario? Dynamic flat files generation in the target. Dynamic flat files generation means the files count which it is going to be generated in the target is not fixed. It changes every run. So in the first run it may generate 2 files, second run 3 files, third run 4 files, fifth run 100 files. Like that every run the file counts changes. Such type of scenario we called it as a dynamics flat files generation in the target. Okay, so we see how to generate the files dynamically in the target. Got it right? The difference between static file generation and dynamic file generation in the target. So here we have a mapping for this to generate the dynamic flat files in the target. Okay, so let me delete this one. So for the first time, we have, this is our source table. So we have HYD, PLR, CNI, 3 address records are there. So I want to generate 3 files in the target before I execute second time. Even though if I add a new address record here, without changing anything inside the mapping or a session task, it should have to generate a new address file, and there it should have to add that new address record in the target flat file. Okay, that is called dynamic flat file generation in the target. In real time, very rare we create this scenario, but this is one of the important interview scenarios. In interview, they may ask, many of the interviews they have asked, tell me how to generate the files in the dynamically in the target. So for that, you have to explain the transformations, and inside the expression transformation, what logic you have written. Inside the transaction control transformation, what logic you have written. So those things you have to explain. Okay, fine. So now what we will do is, so first, so we will arrange the source table data in ascending order. So for that, inside the source qualifier transformation, after importing the source and target definition, target is a flat file, right? So flat file it should have to generate. So you have to create a flat file with the 3 columns: employee number, employee name, address. File name we should not create. So this one I will tell you later. So you have to create 3 columns: employee number, employee name, address. With the 3 columns, you have to create a target flat file definition. You know how to create a target flat file definition. Okay, after importing the source and target definition, inside the mapping, you have to create expression and then transaction control transformation. Okay, so inside the expression transformation, so we have to copy employee number, employee name, address to the expression transformation, and then here you have to create 2 output ports and 2 variable ports. So we have to create 2 output ports and 2 variable ports. Flag underscore vo is one output port, flag underscore v is another variable port, address underscore v is another variable port, and we have file name underscore vo is output port. Like that, we have to create total 4 new ports, and in those ports we have to write the logics like this. Flag underscore v we have to pass to the flag underscore vo, and in flag underscore v we have to write if function. If address underscore v is equal to address, then return 0 else 1. Okay, address underscore v we have to pass the address, file name underscore vo, address pipe, this is called pipe we use to concatenate .txt. Here only we will be generating the file name. Generally in static we hard coded the file name inside the session task, but here in the mapping itself we will be generating the file names. So file name underscore vo output port, there corresponding to the address it should have to give address pipe.txt, so the file name also will be generated. And then inside the transaction control transformation we have to drag and drop this file name, and then flag underscore vo output ports we can drag and drop to the transaction control. Inside that we have to write if function. If flag underscore vo is equal to 1, then tc commit before, else continue transaction. Okay, in the last class we discussed about this transaction control transformation. As I told you, transaction control transformation we use to execute the commit during the execution, right? Okay, but here target is a flat file. Target is a flat file definition. So if it is going to return tc commit before tag, okay, so tc commit before means before inserting the record into the target table, first it should have to execute the commit and then it should have to insert the record inside the target table. but here the target is a flat file. So can we execute a commit on the flat file? Is it possible? Can we execute commit? Can we execute commit on file? Okay, we cannot execute the commit on top of the flat files, right? We cannot execute the commit on the files. Okay, so commit we can execute only on top of the tables, relational tables. Got it? Okay, so commit we can execute only on top of the tables. Then why we have used transaction control transformation? Means here transaction control transformation we can use for two scenarios. Okay, one is to execute the commit during the execution. The another in the another scenario where we can use the transaction control transformation is to generate the flat files. Okay, so if the target is a flat file definition, then writer before inserting the record, if the TC commit before tag returns, TC commit before means before inserting the record, it will create a new file and then it will insert the record inside the file. Okay, we'll see this practically. Okay, so let's say we have created the mapping session workflow, everything, and we have started execution. As soon as we start execution of this mapping, first this order by query will be executed, right? So order by query, it will arrange the records like this in ascending order. First a B, then C, then H. Like that, in this order, it will be arranging the records. Then from this, it will select the first record. 2B BLR is the first record. That 2B BLR, it will pass to the expression transformation. As soon as expression transformation received those values, it will pass those values to the below ports. Below we have two output ports and two variable ports we have. Two output ports and two variable ports you have here. Okay, so inside the way, as I told you in the last class, before execution of the output ports logics, first a variable port logic will execute, right? So it will comes to the first variable port here. So inside this we have written a function, if function, if address underscore v is equal to address v, which is the variable port, right? So what is the value, initial value of the variable port? Since we are executing for the first time, initial value of the variable port is 0. So address underscore v is equal to 0 is equal to address is BLR. 0 is equal to BLR. Condition true or false? False. Since the condition false, it returns the flag value as 1. Okay, so now flag underscore v variable port value we have got 1 here. Then it comes to the second variable port, address underscore v is equal to address. So what is the address we have got here now? BLR. That BLR, it will pass to the address underscore v. Now flag v value 1, address v value BLR. So these are the values we have got at the variable ports. Next, output ports logic will execute. So output port flag underscore o, there we are passing the flag underscore v. So flag v value is 1, that 1 we are passing to the flag underscore o. Now flag underscore o value 1, it will send to the transaction control transformation. In the same way, file name. So file name address pipe.txt. Address we have got BLR. The output of this address pipe.txt will be BLR.txt. Like that, it will return. Pipe is nothing but concatenate. That is called concatenate symbol. Concatenate means adding the two strings. Be address pipe.txt. So the output will be blr.txt. So the file name we will get blr.txt. So like that, these are the values at expression transformation. So from these values, flag underscore o value 1, it will pass to the transaction. File name value blr.txt, it will pass to the transaction, and these three 2b blr will get from the source. Now a transaction control transformation, we will have the values like this: 2b blr1 and then blr.txt. So inside the transaction, we have to write a if function. So if flag underscore o is equal to 1, then TC commit before, else continue transaction. Okay, so this flag underscore o is equal to 1, and here we also have the received the flag underscore o value as 1. Condition true or false? True. Since the condition true, it returns TC commit before. So TC commit before, transaction control transformation will send it to the target. Along with this 2B BLR record. So 2B BLR and TC commit before record will go to the target. Now target side we will have the writer. Now as soon as writer received the record and the tag, writer gives the priority to the tag. Okay, it will read the tag. Okay, TC commit before. So TC commit before means if the target is a table, then before inserting whatever the record it has received, first it should have to execute the commit on the target table, and then it should have to insert the record. But here the target is not a table, target is a flat file. Now what writer will do is, since the target is a flat file, before it creates the target, before it inserts the record inside the file, it will go to the output file directory. Inside the session task, we have to specify the output file directory where it should have to create a file. It will go to that path. Inside that output file directory, it will create a file, and then it will insert the record inside the file like this. Got it? TC commit before means if the target is a flat file, then writer it will create a file before inserting the record inside the file. First it will create a file in the output file directory, and then it will insert the record inside the file. Got it? Next. So after creating the file, it should have to give the name to the file also. So if you drag and drop this file name underscore o to the target definition, whatever the value this file name is going to receive, it will insert inside the file. But we don't want that blr.txt to be insert inside the file. We want that blr.txt, it should have to give the name to the file here. Okay, how it will give the name to the file? For that we have to go to the target flat file definition here under target designer. Currently we have only 4 columns. Open this target flat file definition, go to the columns tab, select the last column here, and then there is a button, F button here. You can see add file name column to this table. If you click on this F button, a new column will be created with the name file name. In the target flat file definition, we have a F button under columns tab. If you click on that F button, a new column will be created with the name file name. Whatever the value this column is going to receive, it will not insert inside the file. Instead of inserting the value inside the file, it will give the name to the file. Okay, so that is the specialty of this column file name, right? So file name column is not same as the other columns. Other here we have employee number, first name, last name, address. These columns, whatever the values they are going to receive, they will insert those values inside the file. But this file name column, it will not insert the value inside the file. It will give the name to the file. That is the use of this file name column. Okay, that's how that file name column we will get here inside the target flat file definition. So this file name column we have got by clicking on that F button. Okay, now from transaction control transformation, if you connect it to that file name column, as I told you, whatever the value it is going to receive, it will give the name to the file, like blr.txt. This is how it has given the name to the file. So with that, our file got created, and also it has inserted the record inside the file, and it has given a name to the file also. Done. First record created successfully, first file created and inserted the record inside the file. Now the second record, 5EBLR. So 5EBLR, it will pass to the expression transformation. Here inside the expression transformation, so this time, so address underscore V, which contains the previous processed address. Here address underscore V contains BLR. So here, so BLR is equal to, for the second record, current address is BLR. right? So for the second row, we have got address as BLR. BLR is equal to BLR. Condition true. It returns the flag value as 0. So it will pass the flag value 0 to the flag underscore O. Here it will pass a 0. Since the flag underscore O is 0, here the condition is going to be false. If the condition false, then TC continue transaction. Continue means do not create any new file. Just continue the transaction to insert the second record in the same file. Whatever it has created in the same file, it will just continue the transaction to insert this record. Like that, the second record also inserted in the same file. Next, third record. So since we have the query, so from the query result set, it will read the third record 3CCNI. So 3CCNI, it will pass to the expression transformation. Now we have got the latest address, which is CNI. Okay, so here what is the condition now? What is the previous processed address? Previous processed address is address underscore B contains BLR. And what is the current address we have got? What is the current address now for the third record? CNI. So BLR is equal to CNI. Condition true or false? False. Since the condition false, it returns the last value 1. This time we have got the flag underscore V value as 1, and then this is also going to be updated. So here we have got the latest address. So it will pass a CNI, and then the file name also cni.txt it is going to get. Okay, so the same flag value 1 it will pass to the transaction control. Since the flag value 1 condition is going to be true, and it returns TC commit before. So for this 3CCNI, it has returned TC commit before. TC commit before means since the target is a flat file, so before inserting the record, it will create a file, and there it will insert the record 3CCNI new address record, and then to this file it will give the name to the file as cni.txt. So like that it will create a file. Next, for the next record 1AH5D, again we have got the new address. Here the condition is going to be previous processed address is CNI, address underscore V contains a CNI. Okay, so is equal to H5D. So here the condition is going to be true, sorry, false, right? CNI equal to H5D. Previous processor address is CNI, and the current address we have got HYD. Condition is false. Again, it returns the flag value 1. So if the flag value 1 it is going to send here, condition is going to be true. If the condition true, then it returns TC commit before. Right? So commit before means before inserting the record. Since the target is a flat file, it will create a new file. There it will insert that record 1A HYD. Like this, and then to this file it will give the file name as hyd.txt, like that. And next, for the same, for the last two records we have the same address. It returns TC continue transaction. So these two records will be loaded inside the same file 4D hyd and then 6F hyd. So we'll get loaded in the same file, like that. Got it? So after successful of the execution, you will get these three files generated. So like that, transaction control transformation we can use for two ways. One is to execute the commit during the execution. The second one is, okay, so second one is to, like generate the files dynamically in the target. That's it. Okay, so this one I have already created the mapping. Okay, so I will just execute and show you the mapping. So first what you have to do, you have to create the same mapping, execute and see whether you have got these three files or not. Here in the next run also, if you add a new address record, you no need to change anything inside the mapping or a session task. As soon as you start execute second time, automatically new file will be created. Okay, so I have created the mapping. I'll just show you how you can create mapping for the same. So dynamic files generation. Okay, So here I took the source table as, like this. This is my source table here. Okay, so in the last to last discussed about the table to file load, right? That we have loaded the data from source to huge number of rows, right? So 12,060 rows are there in EMP underscore training underscore T. So in this table, first I created the mapping to load the data in this table, right? Okay. Currently, I don't have any records here, but I created the mapping to load source file data emp underscore ind or emp underscore hyd file data in this table. Okay, you also have created the mapping for that to get the data in this table, right? Okay, so instead of loading multiple files, you load only one file. So if you load one file data, you may get 12,000 or 30,000 rows. Okay, so from this table, you have to create another source table. I repeat, what you have to do is to practice this dynamic flat files generation scenario. First, you try to practice this one with less number of rows. Once you are able to generate these three files, then the same scenario you have to practice with a huge number of records. Okay, so for that we have to create a source table like this. Okay, so I'm going to create a source table like this, and how you are going to load the data like this. For that, what you have to do is, so in the last to last class, I explained this EMP training underscore, right? So let me show that mapping. So we have already created the mapping session workflow. Okay, so let me execute that workflow first to load the data in this EMP training IND file table to load, right? So this one I have created to load the data from table to a file to a table, and then so this is my session task. So here the indirect file method I have used. So this one already we have done. So I'm just showing. So here we have indirect and the indirect.txt. So what we will do? So here we have the source files, src files folder. Inside the src file folder, so we'll just keep this emp underscore ind. Okay, and so if I use indirect file, we'll have only one file name here. Okay, so first we have a single file. So from this emp underscore ind file, what I am doing, so I'm going to load the data in the target table first, emp training underscore t. So if I execute this workflow, what it will do, it will, in the file there are 12,060 rows. Those 12,060 rows, it will be loaded in this target table. So you can see we have got 12,060 rows here. Okay, so this is the target table. This we already created in the last class. Same mapping I have shown you in the last class, right? So this is what we did in the last class. We have got 12,060 rows. Now what you have to do? So by using this table, you have to create another table. Okay, for to generate the dynamic source files. So you create a table like this. Create table and the table name. This is emp dynamic file generation source. This is a source table as select a star from this one. So if you execute this query, okay, create table, the new table name as a select star from this emp target training underscore t. If you execute this query, a new table will be created with this name and same copy of the emp training underscore t with the same columns, with the same rows. The table will be created. Just I will show you, since I already have the table, I will drop and recreate. Drop table, I will drop this table I'll recreate. So I have dropped the table, whole table got deleted. Okay, I don't have this EMP dynamic function source table, don't have now. Okay, so what we will do, so I am going to create a new table with the name and copy of this. Okay, so for that we have to write a query like this. So if I execute this one, a new table will be created. Now you can see table got created, same copy of EMP underscore T. Now if I execute the select statement in EMP underscore T table, whatever the columns and the rows are there, same all the rows, all the columns got copied. Now this table we have got 12,060 rows. Now this is your source table. Okay, now the source table is ready. Now what you have to do is you have to create a mapping to extract the data from this source table, and based on the country you have to generate. So now how many country records are there here? So we can see here, select distinct country, right? So if I execute this query, how many distinct countries are there? Here count of rows we have got 186 country records are there. Out of 12,060 we have 186 country records are there. So you have to create a mapping to extract the data from this source table, and in the target you have to generate 186 files. Each file will have the corresponding address record. Suppose let's say here we have the country as Oman. Okay, from whatever the number of rows are there out of 12,060. Okay, so all the Oman country address record should be loaded into oman.txt file. In the same way, if it is Ireland, so Ireland country record should be loaded into the ireland.txt file. Like that, 186 files should be generated in the target files directory, and then okay, so in this target file directory 186 files should be generated. Each file should have the corresponding address records. Got it? So first you practice with the less number of rows, then you have to create a table copy of the target table which we have used in the previous class. Okay, and then create a source table like this as your source. By using this source table you have to generate 186 files for each and every country. A separate file should be there, and same corresponding record should be loaded in that file. Okay, now we will just show you. So here we have our source table, and the mapping I have created. Import the source definition, and this is source qualifier transformation, right? So source is a table. That's the reason here we can write a query first, order by query, right? Select star from the source table, order by country. Okay, so like that you will be writing the order by query. So here we did order by on the address, right? Because we have the address. Now in this scenario, order by country. Then expression transformation. In the expression transformation, I told, right, we have to create two output ports and two variable ports. Okay, so inside the expression transformation, go to the ports tab. You can see this is one output port. This is flag underscore v port, country v port, and another file name port we have here, output port country pipe.txt. Okay, so same way, whatever here I have explained, in place of address, we just have a country. So you have to write like this, flag underscore o, flag underscore v we have to pass. In this flag underscore v, here you have to write a logic like this, country underscore v is equal to country 0, comma, and country v you have to pass the country to store the previous process value. File name port is this. Only these four newly added, and then transaction control transformation we have to create. Okay, so inside the transaction control transformation, open this. Okay, go to the properties tab. Here you have to write like if function flag underscore o is equal to 1, tc commit before, else tc continue transaction. Like this we have to write. Okay, and then file name. Here, as I told you, like in the target definition, you have to click on F button so that this last file name column will be created. From expression file name, country pipe, we will drag and drop this file name, and file name to this file name we have to connect. So like this, if you queue, then this will generate the files dynamically. This is how we have to mapping to generate the files dynamically. This is one of the important scenarios for interview. Okay, so let me execute and show you the output. So in the same folder only you can create, but here I have already created dynamic file generation and dynamic file generation. So I'll edit, go to the mapping tab, and the one is I have to give, you know, since the target is a flat file, I should have to specify the output file directory with where it should have to generate. Okay, so this is the path. So we already have the path. Okay, so we'll just make sure the path in this location it should have to generate a file. Output file name, you can give any dummy name. So one output dummy file will be created. Okay, and then the connections for the source, it's a table. We have to specify the connection training underscore dev. That's it. Apply, okay, save. Now it is ready to execute. As soon as I click on start workflow, here we will get 186 plus 1, 187 file will be created. Plus 1 is dummy file. One dummy file, you can see this one, it's a dummy file. Automatically it will be created. You can see started generating the files. See so many files. So you can see 40 here, left side, here corner, we can see 52, 53, 54 files. It is generating the files file by file we are getting here. 73, 74, total 187 files will be generated here because 186 countries we have. For 186 countries, 186 files will be generated, and it will create one dummy file. Still it is generating the files. For each and every country, it is generating a separate file. Done. See, none here. So total how many items? 187 items. Okay. So all the files got generated. 12,060 rows loaded into different files. Okay. So if I open Canada file, we'll have all the, so here we have got the column names, and also if I click on Canada here, you can see all these rows we have only Canada, right? So these many number of rows are there in our source table. Okay, out of 12,060, 70 rows are belongs to Canada. So like that, if I open any file here, corresponding records will get. If I open Egypt file, so you can see if I select Egypt, all the rows will have the Egypt only. So it means all these records belong to Egypt. So like that, corresponding country records will be loaded into each file. Okay, so if I open Turkey, so for each and every country will have the records. So like this. So this one also you can practice. Okay, generating the multiple files. Got it? And this one default file will be created empty file with only column names. We are not going to do anything with that file. That's it. Okay, that's how we can generate the files dynamically in the target. So first you practice with less number of records. Once you understand, then you try to implement this scenario with huge number of records. Okay, so create a table by using the target table which is created in the previous class mapping. Like this, you have to write a create table so that your source table will be created with the data. By using the source table, you have to import the source definition and then target flat file definition. So target is a flat file we do not have, we have to create manually, right? And make sure the data types. So since the target is a flat file, as I told you always, if the target is a flat file, manually we have to create a flat file definition. Manually we have to add the column names in that. That's it. So that's all for the day. We'll stop here today and then we'll continue tomorrow. So today we have seen how to create a mapping to extract the data from table to a single file, table to static files generation, table to dynamic files generation. So these three scenarios you can practice today. Okay, then we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we will start with another new scenario, which is a series type 2. Okay, that is very important. Okay, and we'll create that SCD type 2 mapping in real time, and also every interview they will ask that SCD type 2 scenario. So that one we'll discuss in the next class. That's it. So we'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.